Hello everyone. Today I'd like to show you another of my pigeon breeding pairs producing young to race next season. The first thing you might notice about this pair is that they don't have rings, which leads a lot of people to question if they are even racing pigeons, and that is something I'll address later in the video. This pair, of course, is my stipper hen paired to my black cockbird who also carries the brown base colour. A lot of people are interested in breeding classic almond coloured pigeons, and you might have seen my video explaining how to breed that colour. But honestly, I don't have the time or the space to work on a project that complicated right now, so I'm trying something different and less time consuming. In the future, I'll definitely try to tackle the challenge of breeding classic almond racing pigeons. Right now, I'm aiming for another beautiful phenotype that uses the stipper gene. From this pair, we're trying to produce a spread stipper cock who carries both the brown and black base colours. This is a photo from Eugene Jordan showing what this colour looks like in young birds. But of course, because they are stipper pigeons, they change and get darker each year. This project will be a bit harder than some of the others I've currently got going on. All the young cocks from this pair will carry the stipper gene, but only about 1 in 8 of the young birds will actually have the whole combination of the 3 genes we require. There is a large variety of other colours that these pigeons might produce. Of course, all the young bred from this pair, even the perfectly coloured young, will be going to race in 2021. Although I do a lot of work with rare colours and genetics, racing quality is always my number 1 priority. Anyway, as I was saying earlier, I often get a lot of comments whenever I post these pigeons, from people who quickly look at them and say that these birds don't have rings, or see the large sear on the cockbird. These people usually say that I'm breeding crossbred pigeons or something else like that, implying that I don't have racing pigeons. Although I don't care too much about what detractors or people who simply hate coloured pigeons say, let me tell you the history of these two birds, so that your mind can be at rest. The stipper or almond hen comes from a friend of mine who has spent a few years crossing well-performed racing pigeons into his stipper family. This hen is a genuine racing pigeon who simply missed out on a ring. The cockbird comes from a very old Australian family. Their history goes back to at least the 1940s in New South Wales. The owner of these birds kept them in a semi-wild state where they had to avoid hawks and falcons all day, and only the strongest survived. Although he did not race the pigeons himself, he did give birds away to be raced, and they had success at the long-distance events. These birds start growing their characteristic large wattle or sear at about 3 years old, and this bird is about 8 years old, hence the large size. It is normal for a pigeon sear to grow as it ages, and it is not an indication of crossbreeding. I think maybe some of the people who make comments simply don't know what an old pigeon looks like. Anyway, that's enough of a rant for today. The main point is that these are real racing pigeons, and the young will have a chance to prove themselves in competition next year.